Alright, so plant update video for springtime 2018. I'm doing this in May because in March we had snow, and even in April we had snow as late as April 15th. So it's a little bit of a late start to the growing season this year, but most stuff has started to grow. And how many of my plants survived this winter? Well, let's find out. Alright, so here's the Sago Palm. As you can see, it's a very large plant, very old. And in the center we have the new rosette of leaves forming, and those leaves will emerge into the new growth in a few weeks, and by that time I will have this outside, so once they grow they will form properly, and in general, overall looking good. Can't really say the same for this one, although it's not really a huge issue. It's just that due to the stored nutrients or whatever, the leaves started growing in about March, and of course I can't put this outside in the snow, so they got a little long and extended kind of all over the place, but that's not really a bad thing, because I've noticed in the greenhouse where I worked at that as these plants get older, they start splitting apart, and instead of, growing in one flush of leaves, then another flush of leaves, they will just kind of start sprouting leaves sporadically throughout the year. So once this is outside, the leaves will go back to this normal, shorter looking situation. But again, it's not the end of the world. It's just kind of looks a little bit silly, but it's not really that bad for the health of the plant. Once it's outside, everything should even out fine. And this is my Vanda Orchid. It is growing in a basket pot, as you can see. I kind of prefer that method. I like them to get a little bit more air in between the roots. And this is a Sansai Blue cultivar, and you can see the flowers here. They just started growing this week. And I do really like this orchid. I've been wanting it for a long time, and I think that I will probably get some more in the future and make videos specifically on them. Just kind of don't know what to pick next. I don't know if I want another blue Vanda and get that Pachara's cultivar, or get some red and orange ones, but we'll kind of see, and I'll make some videos specifically about these in the future. Alright, so this is my indoor Sundew Shelf, and it's just, in general, kind of a mess right now. There were some things that I was starting from seed, mainly those Drosera regias, and some things are in a small pot, getting very overcrowded. Lots of things have weeds in it. There's a Helium 4 there, which looks very bad, but it's actually because I took a division and I just tried to grow it in room humidity to see what happens, and it's actually growing back. So we'll just kind of see how that does. It's an experiment right now, and I have some rare seedlings that just sprouted, and some things are looking bad because I let them flower, and that takes kind of a lot of energy out of them. And so once we either get seeds or not, and I cut them off, start fertilizing them, they'll bounce back. We have some things bagged up, which are more seeds sprouting. These two bags are Anglica from Alakai Swamp, Hawaii. And then here we have some hybrids, Nidiformis natalensis, and you can see the sundews sprouting there. Tray of butterworts, and then here we have 3 tubs of my Drosera Adelaide. And we have the giant form, the white flower form, and the regular form. And basically what I've been doing with these is that once a plant gets to adult size, I kind of, chop it and just leave the roots. I kind of pull it out of the sphagnum moss, put the roots on the surface of the soil, cover it with plastic wrap, and then we get all these tiny propagations forming. So it is a quick way to get a couple hundred of these plants. Not sure how many more times I'm going to do that. Actually, I might not at all. I might probably just let these grow over the summer to get to an adult size, because eventually they will start forming propagations through their roots anyways. So, things kind of look bad. They're getting repotted, they're getting propagated, so kind of in the middle of some stuff. The Drosera capensis, a lot of dead leaves on the bottom, but that's natural. They're still growing well. And then over here we have the Baines Kloof Capensis seeds. This has been a variety that I've wanted for a very long time. So hopefully those sprout. And I don't even believe I need the plastic wrap, but I just kind of want to speed things along. And then we just have two random fly traps there. It's an alien and a lucia pot. And then some seedlings of Biohazard. And cephalotus, which I got from tissue culture, which has been growing very slowly this whole time, kind of just dividing. But now I believe we're going to start getting some adult pitchers forming. So once we start feeding those, it should take off. Now, just to finish this off, we have, of course, the assortment of outdoor plants. We have the Mexican cypress there, which I kept indoors. And we have this bald cypress, which had a bit of a rough winter, as you can see. But if we zoom in, we can see that there are buds on the tree that will turn into leaves in the coming weeks. So we just have to be a little bit more patient while that buds out. We have the Venus flytraps finally in the sunlight, so they should start growing from their dormant rosettes into more of the tall, typical appearance. And then, of course, we just have the pine that it looks a little rough, in my opinion, just because, you know, I like 100% greenery, but some dry needles, they're natural. We fertilized it just to get some of the roots growing. We have some larch seedlings from the American larch. Of course, we have my Japanese larch filling out. We have the Dawn Redwood there filling out, and the European larch filling out. Darlingtonia had a rough winter, but it's growing back. Some of the Sarracenias did not survive. Actually, it's pretty much just this one. It was a Carolina yellow jacket, as you can see, purpurea. We may still get something growing back, but, you know, in general, pretty rough. It was pretty much just frozen solid the entire winter. The ginkgo biloba, that's growing back, and this is a Leah Wilkerson purpurea hybrid, you know, died back to pretty much the rhizome, but, you know, that sprouts in the summertime. And then we just have some random intermedias, Sarracenia purpurea, and then I guess to finish it off, my final and favorite plant, we have the juniper here, and I still haven't made a video dedicated to it, but I will probably do that soon. And as you can see, it has a lot of foliage that filled out on the top. Although one thing I've kind of not liked about this plant, and it was a problem pretty much since I bought it, the previous owner, for some reason, it kind of took off a lot of foliage on these bottom branches, and just compared to the top, it looks really extremely sparse. And so I've been fertilizing it and kind of trying to pinch this stuff back, but allow this to grow so it fills out, because it just kind of looks like a really crappy back branch just kind of sitting there. This one as well. And then over the winter time, I actually started getting a little freaked out because I don't know if I can find any now, but we just had random, you know, branches dying. Like, as you can see, this one has a lot of nice growth on it, but this one is just kind of yellow. And then, of course, you know, when branches are dying, they eventually turn more yellow, and then they start turning brown. We have just a little tip there, but just imagine, you know, entire branches like that. And they started, you know, dying and falling off, and I got worried that, you know, maybe this entire branch will even die and fall off, but that's just mostly due to paranoia. But yeah, that's the situation here, just trying to get those branches to fill out this year, pinch this back. And actually, this is the front of the tree, so this is technically, you know, officially what it looks like. You know, as you can see, very overgrown. I'm probably going to pinch it back a little bit later. Right now, I wanted all of that for photosynthesis because there's another issue, which is the root ball is very small on this tree. When I bought it, it was actually in a pot that was only like out to here and out to here. Very, very tiny pot. I feel like they didn't have anything else, so they just wanted to use their smallest and cheapest one and kind of shoved it in there. So I put a lot of fertilizer specifically for root growth on it, so I'm going to try and get that filling out the pot this year. But, you know, overall, it's not bad. There's just a few issues on this tree that we have to work on. All right, so that's about it. Hopefully these will start growing quickly and, you know, vigorously, and I can make an update in maybe a month or so.